So, Will, here I have one of my favorite workouts to prescribe, and that is a Zone 3 ride. So, mountain bikers especially, they don't get to spend a lot of time riding in this zone because we'll go up at like a punchy climb and usually go way too hard. And then we coast for a really long time. So, this is a really nice intensity for us to be able to work out. So, when I prescribe it to mountain bikers, I say not too hard, but just right. And we progress with this, obviously, with the pros. They're going to do this intensity for up to 2 or 3 hours. But you know what? When we can progress at this intensity, we're doing a good job.
Right. And what's the main goal?
So the goal of this session is to increase the power output at threshold. So we can do that obviously in a few ways, and this is one of those ways, and that's to exercise for a really long time, much below threshold. So this is kind of your standard group ride pace. So everyone will head out on a group ride. You start at this pace, eventually everyone kind of stops talking to each other because it's getting a bit too hard. And then they slow down, but this intensity, it doesn't feel too hard, but it is harder than endurance. So we can't maintain this pace for 4, 5, 6 hours, but we can exercise for 30-minute blocks, and that's a nice stimulus.
That's where I like to see the actual blocks here, because often, Matt, I did my zone 2. What we see is people start their zone 2, they go into zone 3, and then they drift back into zone 2, and then look at the average, and they're good. But so why have you set this one out just starting off with the 2x30s?
Yeah, we can do this lots of ways. So 2x30s is actually a progression, because some athletes come in and they can only maintain zone 3 steadily for 10 minutes at a time. So this 30 minutes, I think this is a really good duration. It's longer than any climb that you'll see in most places. And it's a great workout to do on Zwift.
And in terms of fatigue, it looks demanding but not crazy hard. How would you structure this into a plan? Or across a week,
Great question. So this doesn't look too hard, but it is hard. So we want to come into this with being pretty fresh, right? So we don't want to come in with too much fatigue, because if we stack these up, we're just going to add too much fatigue too quickly. It's way too close to our threshold.
Okay, great. And so the main goal is around that sort of sub-threshold, sort of higher force output, but still able to comfortably steady state buffering lactate and just adding a progression to your threshold.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be looking for a steady state, so we're looking for the heart rate to increase and then just kind of stay there for the duration of the interval. It's not going to spike at the end, and if it does, that's when we know the intensity is too hot. So that's one of the things that we can look for. And in terms of progression, we're not going to increase the intensity of this one, because that's a different zone. This is all of zone 3. What we're going to do is we're going to draw the amount of time that the athlete spends riding in zone 3. So 2 30-minute blocks, if you can do that, that's a great start. Then the next thing that we would do is we would take away that recovery in between. Then you're doing 60 minutes straight in zone 3. Totally doable once you have progressed in this area.
Yeah, this is a session that's quite similar to marathon running. We start off with like what you consider an achievable marathon training like block of time duration, and then progress to hopefully build up to your kind of 70% of your marathon times. That would be around your 2 to 2.5 hours for the really fit individuals. So that's fitting that in frequency, intensity, duration, or time long term. So that's a great workout, Matt.